Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Well, I am back with yet another video on the COVID-19 vaccine front. I actually have to remaster and re-upload the part 3 of my pharmacology and toxicology, the sister sciences video, and then I want to have a open science hangout here on my channel with another collaborator and maybe other collaborators. So let's see. But I just wanted to get in and out pretty quickly. I saw this article on Twitter and I thought it was worth covering here, as this is one of the hot topics early on in 2021. Coincidentally, I just went to go see my primary care physician yesterday for a checkup, and I asked him about the vaccine and he gave me a thumbs up. Whenever it becomes available for people in my age group and demographics. So I don't present this information to say you need to go take the vaccine, because I know that there are people who are concerned about it and there are people who don't trust it. And I think that my role as a scientist and a YouTube content creator is to just present the information and to let you, the listener, decide for yourself based upon what's presented. And before I read the article, I just also want to say that if you haven't listened to them, if you're new here, I did 2 live streams on the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, specifically the memoranda generated by the Food and Drug Administration. The first one dealt with the efficacy of those 2 vaccines, and then the second one focused on the potential adverse effects that the FDA captured in their memoranda from Pfizer and Moderna. But it turns out, if you've been following the content here on Big Discussion 76, Science and Technology, there have been numerous groups chasing the twister, or the tornado. That's a nod to the movie Twister starring Bill Paxton, where there were multiple groups chasing the tornadoes, or tornado chasers. In any case, this article is entitled Johnson & Johnson's Single Shot Vaccine 85% Effective Against Severe COVID-19 Disease. And the subtitle says about 100 million doses could be ready by June if the FDA gives the green light. And this was written by Sunny Salzman, and it was published this morning, which is January 29th, 2021. And before I jump in, just remember that the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, those require 2 doses. So just from the title, this will be a single dose vaccine. This is a short piece and it reads, in another promising development for vaccine science, Johnson & Johnson says its vaccine, a single shot tested against a complex barrage of newly emerged COVID-19 variants, is 66% effective at preventing symptomatic disease and 85% effective against preventing severe illness. A team of scientists at the company were elated and joyful when they saw the results. Dr. Matai Memon, MD, PhD, the global head of Janssen Research and Development, told ABC News. We're a single shot, and now we've produced data that say that our vaccine is highly effective, 85% effective against severe COVID-19, 100% effective against hospitalization, or death, Mamin said. We've had the objective of producing a vaccine for the world that is easily used, is easily distributed, and it works against preventing the form of COVID-19 that people care about, said Mamin, meaning an illness that can make you severely sick at home and lead to hospitalization or death. In a press release, Johnson & Johnson said the vaccine is also safe to take. Volunteers experienced mild reactions after the shot, with less than 10% experiencing fever. The full data package will be made publicly available and will be evaluated by the FDA's advisory committee sometime in mid to late February. The Food and Drug Administration has said it will consider a vaccine that's more than 50% effective, and Johnson & Johnson and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine exceeds this threshold. An emergency use authorization could be given, and people could start receiving shots before the end of February. With its single-shot administration and more convenient transportation and storage requirements, Mamin calls it a workhorse vaccine, quote unquote. We're delighted to see that this vaccine has good efficacy against mild disease and outstanding efficacy against severe disease in all geographic regions studied, said Dr. Baroque of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, who collaborated with Johnson & Johnson in the development of the vaccine. Although existing FDA-authorized vaccine from Pfizer/BioNTech and Moderna boast roughly 95% efficacy rates against symptomatic disease and near protection against severe illness, they also have drawbacks, as they both must be administered in 2 shots and have more complex storage requirements. Also, they were tested back in the summertime prior to the emergence of the recently discovered COVID-19 variants. They did run the vaccine at a period that was simpler, said Mamin. These variants are particularly tricky, as they can be more virulent and a little bit harder to protect from. The Johnson & Johnson trial, launched in September, was conducted in the United States, South Africa, and Latin America. Although unforeseen at the time, this massive clinical experiment, comprised of more than 44,000 volunteers, took place in countries where new COVID-19 variants would emerge shortly thereafter, often taking over the prior versions of the virus. South Africa, in particular, is home to a variant that seems not only more transmissible, but is also seemingly able to blunt the effect of other existing vaccines. Latin America, meanwhile, is home to a more transmissible Brazilian variant that shares some of the same mutations. It's a much more complex pandemic now than it was a month ago, Baroque said. Broken down by region, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the trial was 72% effective in the United States, 66% in Latin America, and 57% in South Africa. Mamin said the company is very fortunate to have chosen South Africa as one of the homes for its trial, because it gave them the opportunity to show that their vaccine works even against a variant that may one day become dominant. So now Mamin said, I'm thinking not so much about the South African strain, but rather about other mutations that might pop up. He's particularly encouraged by the fact that all volunteers saw a significant benefit in taking a vaccine that eliminates the possibility of being hospitalized or dying of COVID-19. In the trial, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine proved to be 66% effective at stopping a person from developing COVID-19 symptoms, but it was 85% effective at preventing severe illness that could send a person to the hospital. So this is probably the single most exciting result in our entire clinical study, that we have 85% protection against severe COVID, irrespective of where in the world you're talking about and what kind of variants you're talking about, Mamet said. From the standpoint of making a vaccine for this pandemic, your goal is keeping people out of the hospital and out of the morgue, said Dr. Paul Offit, a member of the FDA's advisory committee, director of the Vaccine Education Center, and professor of pediatrics in the Division of Infectious Disease at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Obviously, it's no fun having mild illness, Offit said, but the real question is, how effective was it at keeping people out of the hospital? The development comes as the world has been waiting for a more convenient single-dose vaccine against the coronavirus, and preferably one that doesn't need to be frozen for shipping and long-term storage like Pfizer's and Moderna's do. Mamet said his company's vaccine checks those boxes. We know it's a magnificent advantage to have a single shot. I believe everybody benefits from this vaccine. They are now planning studies in children and pregnant women to ensure the vaccine is also safe and effective for those groups. If authorized, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine would help ease a strained vaccine supply. The company said they can deliver 100 million doses to the United States by June if the FDA gives the green light. So that's the article. I'm going to leave that in the description box below. I will look out for the memorandum from this vaccine, and I'll probably do a live stream or live streams on that, just like I did for the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Again, this is not to convince you to take it, but again, just to present the information and put it out there so that you can decide for yourself. I'm going to stop this video here so as to not make it too long. Just one other thing. My primary care physician told me when I asked him about this that they'd been working on this for a while. So for us, the pandemic started, our lives were basically turned upside down, and everyone wants to get back to a quote-unquote normal. And so it feels like it's taken forever to create a vaccine, or it feels like there's been this project Warp Speed that former President Trump talked about. But according to my primary care physician, coronaviruses are not new. So they've been working on vaccines for coronaviruses for, I'll throw out, at least 10 years now. So they just had to kind of coalesce the information, put together strategies for creating vaccines, and then get them approved and then disperse them to the public. So I thought that was interesting when I asked him about it. So I'm going to stop this here. If anyone wants to leave something in the tip jar, that information is below this video. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to this channel. I'm sitting at around 620 subs. The goal is to get to 1,000. Everyone be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good weekend. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.